With Darth Vader's redemption back into the light in Return of the Jedi, wherein he turned upon and murdered his master Darth Sidious, both Padme and Luke were proven correct. There was still good within him. But if this was seen by his wife and son, one has to wonder, did Palpatine recognize that there was still light within Vader, which could one day result in his apprentice turning back to the light and killing him? In this video expose, I will explain whether Palpatine recognized that there was still light within Vader, and could therefore foresee his apprentice's redemption, and also describe the reasons why Palpatine might have been unconcerned with the light present within Vader. It's clear that Palpatine was neither oblivious nor unconcerned about the reality of his apprentice being susceptible to the pull of the light. In the novel Tarkin, roughly 5 years after the rise of the Empire and Darth Vader's fall to the dark side, Palpatine reflected on the words of his former master, Darth Plagueis, which were, "The Force can strike back." In meditating on this statement by Plagueis, Palpatine recognized that just because he'd succeeded in destroying the Jedi Order, it did not mean that he truly succeeded in removing the light from the galaxy. Importantly, Palpatine saw the larger truth of this reality in the simple example of his own apprentice, understanding that he hadn't even driven the light completely from Vader, as there was still the barest flicker of persistent light within him. Therefore, Palpatine clearly understood that there was the possibility that Vader could be redeemed back into the light, and as such, was a threat to him. The potential and alarming aspect of Palpatine's understanding that a modicum of persistent light remained within Vader comes from the fact that Palpatine had just previously tested Vader's loyalty in a mission that they both engaged in on the planet of Ryloth to uncover a traitor within the Empire. At the time, Vader was being haunted by the memories of Anakin, including those regarding Padme, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, and Mace. Ultimately, Vader passed Palpatine's test, with Palpatine confident that Vader had ensured his allegiance to both the dark side and to Palpatine, which is demonstrated by the Emperor changing the name of an Imperial cruiser from Defiance to Obedience. However, even though Vader passed his trial and accepted his place as a servant and apprentice of Palpatine, Palpatine still recognized that persistent light remained within Vader soon after, as seen from the quote in Tarkin. But if Palpatine recognized that even after 5 years, and Vader passing his trials, there still remained light that endured within his apprentice, and understood that Vader could be redeemed back into the light as a way of the Force striking back at him, why didn't Palpatine take added precautions or even remove Vader himself? Even though Palpatine understood that light remained within Vader, however he was confident that Vader was firmly in his place beneath him, Palpatine came to accept the persistent light within his apprentice for 2 reasons. First, he was confident that the dark side would eventually provide him with the ability of infallible foresight, wherein he could clearly come to understand future events. And second, he was confident that with Vader in his place, he could afford to not let himself be sidetracked from his ultimate goal of using the dark side to not only achieve immortality, but to harness its power to transform reality itself, thereby allowing him to create a universe of his own design. Palpatine was confident that both of these goals would be achieved, and with them, he would be able to influence the Force so as to ensure that it didn't strike back at him, even if there was the presence of light within Vader. Therefore, while Palpatine recognized that Vader was still plagued by having a small flicker of enduring light within him, and understood through the teachings of his master Darth Plagueis that the light could work to redeem Vader and strike back at him, this was not an immediate concern to Palpatine. This is because he was confident that Vader was firmly in his place and obedient to him. He would eventually be granted the ability to have clear and absolute foresight into future events, and because he was dedicated to the more important goal of unlocking the full power of the dark side to create a universe as he envisioned it, thereby preventing the Force from striking back at him. Palpatine's ability to sense the light within Vader, but yet be unconcerned with the potential for his redemption, due to his belief in his own achievement of complete mastery over the dark side, was also seen in the Legends novel Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader. Only weeks after Vader's defeat to Obi-Wan on Mustafar, Palpatine recognized that Vader was still between worlds, which is to say that there was still light within him, and this made him vulnerable to being redeemed into the light and killing Palpatine. Palpatine then went to work on driving Vader to the dark side, which he ultimately succeeded in doing, believing that his apprentice had been transformed and had begun tapping into the dark side's full power. But again, we see that Palpatine came to conclude that there would be no reason to fear his apprentice in the future, whether from his redemption back into the light or trying to take his place as master. This was because Palpatine was similarly confident that with Vader in his place, he could focus on his most important goal of achieving full mastery of the dark side, thereby gaining its full power, including immortality. Therefore, again we see that although Palpatine understood that there was persistent light within Vader, and thus a risk of his redemption, he was unconcerned with this reality, as he was confident that Vader was firmly in his place beneath him. The dark side would one day grant him the ability to achieve complete foresight into future events, and he was more concerned about his true goal of harnessing the full power of the dark side to create a universe of his own design. So there we have it, how Palpatine sensed light within Vader and the potential for his redemption, and why he was more concerned with other dark side achievements. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions. Also, if you enjoyed the video, So there we have it, how Palpatine sensed light within Vader and the potential for his redemption, and why he was more concerned with other dark side achievements. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions. Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me, for regret.